Okay, so what I was saying, there was some interruption. Sorry for that. What I was saying was that there are few things that we have already learned in the previous session, that is yesterday, which is wrapper class, autoboxing, abstract keyword, final keyword. And also we have learned about static method in interface, package and access modifiers. Okay, this is the note that we have sent. And I hope that you are all very much aware and you have gone through that particular note. Did you? First of all, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So did you go through that note of package and access modifiers? If I assume you have, then let us see one example of student Java and engineer Java. Okay. An engineer and a student. Now, how is that package and access modifier playing its role? A very simple example. Let's say we are now here. What I do, I will just make the default package off, and I have two packages. Right? The previous day we have seen that we can have com.pcs global. This is one package, and there is another called com.pcl global.test, all under SRC. So this com.pcs global will be under src/com/pcs global, and here also this will be under src and /com/pcs global/test. There you will find student.java. Therefore, to refer to student.java student class, what I have to do, I have to mention package, and I will say com. You don't have to mention src, because src is the based folder. So don't mention the based folder. Always give the package name. Otherwise, the default package doesn't have any package name. It is directly under SRC. But these I'm giving a package name when I'm creating a package. How do you create a package? Yeah, okay. That is what you want to see as well. Okay, fine. Let me say I am on the project. I say right click. As like everything you can do, you can create a package. You are trying to create a Java package. You just click over here and the wizard comes up. You say Java package. What is that? That this is the source folder. Fine. Under this, you are creating a package. Let's say I'm giving a package called com.pcs global.learning. Just arbitrary, where I would like to keep all my related files, Java files. I don't want to create package info.java. No need. I will just say finish. This is how you create a package. Can you see that there is a package created under SRC? This one. And the package
Yes,
is,
sir.
and the package is com.pcsglobal.learning. So are you expecting that package to be created already? Yes, I am expecting that. Where? Let me open this. I will go to the my file system. I know where I am. I will go to the project folder, and I know the project folder is under some directory which I have created. Okay, and I will say that yes, this is the Java SE, and my project is lying over here. And I will do what? I will say SRC. When I go to SRC, I will see there is a com. This com becomes a part of the package. But whatever I'm seeing in the SRC folder, these are all the files, Java files under what? Under which package?
SRC.
Huh? Sorry.
SRC.
No, SRC is not a package. SRC is the source folder.
The com under the com.
com.pcsglobal.learning.
No, but I'm here. I'm saying that abstract assignment.java. Where is this? In which package is this?
Abstract com.
No abstract com. Where are you getting abstract com?
Only com.
No, you are again confusing. See, I am in the source folder. I am not in any package right now. And I am finding that these are the source files, Java files, abstract demo.java, anonymous example.java. Now, where are these? What is the
Default
package that I can? Yeah,
default package.
that is the default package. Okay, that is the default package because I have not created any package. That is the default package. But I have created a package called com, and under com there is a PCS global, and you will see that there is a learning and test. This learning, so these are the java.java files. So where are these? Under which package? Like checked exception user input. If somebody asks you, I am right now under source src com PCS global.
com.pcs global.
Yes, that com.pcs global is the package. So whenever you want to refer or use this Java file, you have to mention package, give a space, and you will say com. Don't mention src. Com.pcs global. That means this will be you are asking, you are telling the compiler to find this particular file under some package, and that package is com.pcs global. If I go to test, so this student.java is a Java file in which package?
Yeah.
com.pcs global.test.
Very good. So you have learned. There is no confusion because this student dot, you see, it is lying under src. src is not a package. com.pcs global dot test. Let me go back to PCS global. Let me go back to learning. Now learning is a package. So it is com.pcs global dot learning. But there is no, because just now I have created a package. I have not put in any file over there. Is that fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So similarly, I know that the student, I will go, I have just created for your learning, I will remove this. How to remove this? I will say delete. I am deleting the package that I have created. Just before deleting, you always try to recheck whether you are deleting the correct thing. Otherwise, you may delete something else.
So can you see again how to create the package?
Yeah. You go to this thing, the project. You go to project, or you can go to source, because source is a place where you are creating the package. You go to package, you are right clicking, you say new, and then you go to package. That is, you are creating a package, new Java package. Create a new Java package, and you want to create the Java package under src. This is the project name, not the folder. This is just the project name, and the project name and the project has a source folder, and as under source folder you want to create a package. So you say com dot, you can give anything, but give a dot. PCS global, but you see immediately the package say the package already exists. So you need to give something. You say you are giving learning. I want to create a package com.pcsglobal.learning where I am going to create or store my Java files. So this will be created. So did you get it? How you create a package? Then under this package, you can say new. I want to create a class. I am just giving a name to the class, just a class. Or you can say just a class, but better to use the file naming convention, because there are 3 words. Always it has to start with a capital letter, and the rest is, this is another word. So A, capital and class C capital, just a class. And I say that I want to, okay, I will include the main file, the main, because that is the main file. So can you see that I have created a package, and now a package is having a class called Java package. Just a class dot Java. Fine. Then you start coding whatever you want to do. Is that clear? So if the
Yes, sir.
compiler wants to find, see, it is automatically giving you COM package. Now, if I take it out immediately, because it is not under the default package. If it is in the default package, you do not need to mention any package.
Huh?
Yes.
Sir, when you create the just a class dot Java, then the
Just a class dot Java. Yes.
this type of page will come.
Huh?
When I create a class, just a class,
Huh.
after that this type of page will become.
Yeah, because this you are creating this package, this class you have created just now. You have created.
Sir, any
Did you not-
restriction for the
Did you
this
not
class
create any
name?
class till now? Out of these 9 or 10 sessions, have you not yet created any class?
Yes, sir. No, sir. I know.
So what were you doing all these days?
Okay, sir.
No, I'm not very happy with that answer. Are you saying yes, you have not done anything right now till now? Are you not practicing it?
Yes, sir. I practice it, sir. I cannot understand your question, so that's regarding I have to.
No, my question, I have not asked any question. You have asked me a question.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir.
No, you are saying that you are not understanding how this class is created.
No, sir. No, sir. This
Then?
is not. When I create this type of the .tech class .java,
Uh,
the package and package com .pcs global learning, it should be come with that.
because you are, see, okay, let me remove this class first of all. Okay, that's a good question. Fine. I delete this class, okay?
How it will come? Because when I created it, only the public class will come. So that's why I ask you, sir.
Default.
Yes, sir.
Default, I have not created any package. That's why, see, all this time we were doing these programs under the source folder. So that source folder is nothing. So whenever you open any file, let's say abstract demo, did you mention any package for this class that you have created? For this class that you have created, abstract demo, did you create any package? Are you saying package? No, you have not. You cannot say a package called SRC. There is no such package because that is a default package. And you can also say default package. Like here, default package. No, you cannot do. The package is always with some something dot something dot something. Okay, then it is there. But this is not a problem because your Java file, abstract demo.java is under the source folder, which is a default package. But here you are trying to organize. That is why I asked you to go through that notes yesterday that I have pasted, that I have given in that in the group. Whenever you are saying that you have created com PCS global.learning, this is a package. Now, under this package, you right click on this because you want to create a Java file under this package. Like I have created student.java file under com.pcs global.test. So if I open student, what will you see? Are you not seeing that it is mentioning a package and then com.pcs global.test? Because you are mentioning to the compiler that this student class will be available, or the student.java file will be available under com.pcsglobal.test. That is the package. That's why you are mentioning the package. Otherwise, it will keep on searching for, it will not. If you don't mention, the compiler will not allow. Because the compiler does not find the student anywhere. You have not mentioned, by not mentioning the package, you are mentioning that I want you to look for student.java under which package? If I don't mention package, then what I'm trying to tell to the compiler, where will it find the student.java? It will find, you just can you not understand the question? If I do not mention the package, then by default, where will the compiler try to find the student.java?
Default package.
Default package, this simple question I'm asking you again and again. Try to understand what is the difference between a default package and the package with a name. So then therefore there is a, so the declared package without any package name does not match the expected package, but the expected package is com.pcsglobal.test, because the student lies under under com.pcsglobal.test, and if you do not mention the package, the compiler will not compile. As simple as that. So once you take this and mention that, immediately the error has gone. Okay. Similarly, if you try to, like, you are on this particular package and you want to create a class in this package, not in any default package. So you go to new, you go to class, and you will see that the package here, now the package comes com.pcsglobal.learning, isn't it? Because you are there and you have right click and you just give the name, just a class, and you say I want to include the main, and I finish. See, my just a class.java is under the package with the mentioned package com.pcsglobal.learning.
Yes,
Correct?
yes.
That is why you are seeing this. If you take this out, immediately there is a compiler error. The declared package does not match the expected package.
Sir?
You
I got
have to mention the package name.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So what is the benefit?
Huh?
What
Tell
is the
me.
benefit when I declare? What is the advantages of when I declare this type of?
There is no advantage. Advantage because you have not gone through that notes. That's why you are asking. Why there is an advantage of a package? You are organizing your files. You see, whenever you are writing something like, say, library of files under the test package. So you will understand that this is the development files or the normal files or whatever, the development files. Okay, under com.pcsglobal. So all your development files will be there. But then you want to give some files to the test also. So you are keeping all the test files that you are going to give to the testing team, or you are organizing them into under a package. And this package is different from this package. So you can rename it as com.pcsglobal.dev, development files. You're organizing your files. Let's say these are all your learning files, the training files. You are putting them under the training folder, or not the folder, under the package. So basically you are organizing it. You go through that notes, because I cannot keep on repeating the same thing again and again. And we will not progress that way. You have to give your effort, boss. You try to, first of all, try yourself. Then you come back to me if you are not being able to understand anything. But if you do not try and just keep on asking a very simple thing, which we have explained or which we have given you the notes, you must try to go through them. Okay. Let me progress, because I will not be able to progress like this. I'm just removing this class. I'm deleting it. And then I'm deleting the package. Okay, so let us come back to this. The last thing for how will we understand the student and engineer. So just help me out. If you have understood why I have given the package like com pcs global.test for student.java for this particular file. Because simple, because I have kept the student.java under PCS global com.pcs global.test. Okay. And this is what? This is what type of class? You have learned that. You have learned that when you have getters and setters, these are the
Super class.
huh?
Super class.
No, not super class. I think you need to go through the videos and the recordings very much. It is now becoming very important that you go through this. This is the entity class, or the class used for encapsulation. Encapsulation. Did we learn this topic, encapsulation? You tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
So did we not discuss that you will declare the data, and then you will either use say private or public or protected, and then you will have getters and setters, and very end you can also have the toString overriding the toString method of the object class, so that you can display the object, this object correctly in a particular format. Otherwise, you will display only the hash code. You will not understand. So this is called the entity class. Entity means this particular class will have a one-to-one mapping with a table of a database. We have also gone through MySQL. We have gone through some, isn't it? Didn't we do?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is like a table. Though we cannot represent a table directly in a Java application, but we are having an entity mapping, entity class, which will be actually a mapping to a table called student. The student table will be a small letter, but here, since it's a class, you have to start with a capital letter. That is the only difference. But these are the fields of the table. You have to give the exact field names. You cannot give something else. You cannot say here, and in the MySQL database, you do not say, in the MySQL table student, you do not say mark. So all the fields. Let's say I have an entity class student. I have the getters and setters for all the fields. Age, so get age, set age. Get roll number, set roll number. Get name, set marks. Okay. You are getting the marks because you will be querying and you will be also creating. Like for the CRUD application, CRUD, C-R-U-D. Again, I'm explaining. It is create, read, update, and delete. These are the 4 operations that you do. These are the 4 operations that you do in the database table, isn't it? You can create or you can insert a row in a table. You can read a row or you can read multiple rows. You can update update a row, you can delete a row. These are the basic operations that you can manipulate the data in a database table. And you are doing that through an entity class, which is like a table, and through the getters and setters. Because through the get, you can read, and through the set, you create or update or delete. Okay. For delete, it is nothing but you are setting something as null, null. That's everything. If you set it null, that means it is no row. It is as equivalent to saying that you are deleting the row. We will come to that, but not here. Just for the time being, I am discussing about package. That was the topic that we have selected for package and access modifiers. So I have gone to student. I have seen that I have created this student.java under the package called com.pcsglobal.test. That is in this particular package. Okay. Now let us go to, and I have these 4 fields, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have the getters and setters. Now I have another. So let me save this, and I have another one. An engineer. What is that? And where this engineer, where will you find this? Will you find this under test? Under com.pcsglobal.test? No. I have only one file, student Java.
Com.
Yeah. So I am finding, I have mentioned package. That means the compiler will go and look into this package, com.pcsglobal, and it will find engineer. Let me tell you, okay, JRE. You will not find it here. So whenever you are using any library of Java, now this is one library, but this is under some, oh, this is from the local because you have installed the runtime library. But if you see, basically these are all the folder wise, but it is, you can see that whenever you are looking for, whenever you are importing, this is importing. Okay, let me finish the package. The package here, because basically engineer.java will be found over in this package com.pcsglobal. As simple as that, that in this package. So the compiler will go there and pick up the engineer.java. If you do not mention, it is a compiler error. Now this engineer is a student. First of all, the engineer was derived. So engineer class is extending student. That means engineer has all the properties of a student, isn't it? If you are not a student, first of all, you will not become a, basically it's an engineering student. I'm creating a class for an engineering student, which is also a student. So extend student. But whenever you are saying extend student, is student and engineer in the same package?
No.
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 Because engineer is in com PCS global. That's why you have mentioned package. But the student lies under com PCS global.test in this package. Therefore, you are saying that I want to import. Whenever I'm mentioning extends, I do not know, the compiler doesn't know if you do not mention this statement. If I take this out, what will happen? There is a problem. Compiler says there is a student issue because the compiler says student cannot be reserved to be a type, to a type. Type means class, because it is saying that if you want to extend a student, the class student, where is that student? You have not imported, and it's not also in the COM PCS global package. Are you seeing any student.java here? No. So how will the compiler find? So therefore, you have to say that I want to, don't mention another package. In a single file, there can be only one package. The package which says where your engineer file is. But if you want to use another class from a different package, you have to import that class. This is a class, and this class is available under this package. Okay? Any confusion?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, if the package is same, then will I have to import that class?
No. Very good question. If suppose now I copy this, and paste it in com.pcs global where engineer this thing is there, and I say paste. Okay, I paste it over here. So what I'm doing is I now have the engineer Java as well as student Java. So they are both in the same package. Now, once I go to student, will this work? Yeah, because I already have this, so this is also fine. But what I'm saying, in this case, I do not need to import. Am I getting any error?
No, sir.
No, because both the engineer Java and the student Java, both these classes are existing in com.pcs global package. So I do not need to import. But suppose, because it will be available there.
Go.
Sorry, sorry.
Sir, it's directly starts.
It will directly find, because in this package, both of these classes are there. So I do not need to import. I do not need to say to the compiler that if the student, now I will remove this from the, I will delete this. Now, did you see immediately there is an error? Why there is an error?
Yes, sir.
Because this student, as you are mentioning, the package com.pcl, it is valid for engineer, but it is not valid for student because student is not there. But student is available under com.pcl PCS global.package, but you cannot mention another package. In this case, you have to mention import. That's all. Immediately, once you say that, okay, fine, compiler, please find the student, because I have imported that already through the package com PCS global test.
Can I again show the import also, the student Java?
You can?
Sir, student Java. Can you show in again?
Okay, I will go there. Can you see that I have mentioned here? I have mentioned package, not import. Not import, because I am in this class, I am not using engineer. Okay. A student can be a doctor as well. So this is the entity class. In entity class, I will be using this entity class in another class. Let's say engineer class. So this class engineer extends students. Therefore, I need to mention that import. Suppose if I do not import, I can do what? I suppose I do not need to find out. Let the compiler find out where the student file is there, where the student class is there. What you do, you just go beside the student, you say control space. Once you say control space, okay, did you see that? Did I type this one? The compiler has already, once you say control space, press control space on the student class on different package to get the input automatically. Am I correct? So you do not need to type a single letter. So again and again, this problem is happening anyway. Can you see the screen now?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, let me share.
Yeah.
Can you see the screen?
No, sir.
Can you not see the screen?
No, sir, we can't.
I cannot see your student.
Where are you seeing? What are you seeing on the screen?
In like Alok Heller's person meeting room, Alok Heller.
Oh, Anish. Hello, Anish. Are you there?
And no, any Anish.
I'm talking to Anish.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Just hold. Just wait a minute. Anish, can you just enable the screen sharing? No. Host disable participant screen sharing. No, host disabled participant screen sharing. Actually, I got disconnected. Then I reconnected again. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
I think that Anish sir is not here.
Actually, whenever I'm trying to share the screen, it is saying host disabled participant screen sharing. I do not know how will I conduct the sessions like this.
Sir, call the Anish sir then.
No, I have called. I've called. I've called.
Your 10 minutes.
Let me leave and log in again. Let's see.
When you log in, this is also same.
No, it is still getting this thing.
Yes, sir, it's showing same also.
Huh?
When you sir re-log in, it's showing this type of also. I also try in my side also.
What are you finding?
re-log in, and I also try to
No,
share.
I have relogged in, but whenever I'm trying to share the screen, I'm getting host disabled participant screen sharing. So I'm requesting Anish to do to either enable the screen sharing. Anish, are you there? Anish? Can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir. Now we are seeing.
Okay. So let us continue without any. I think the recording is still on. So fine. Just sorry for all this disturbance. What is to be done? It is not in our hands. So what I'm saying is, you have mentioned the package of engineer. Engineer lies in com.pcs global, and it will extend student. If I do not mention this at all, I will get an error. So what you do, because this student, the compiler is not getting anywhere from. So what you do, you don't have to type. You can type import this thing, the package com.pcs global, and you will get a list of all the domains under com dot this thing. You just select this. Immediately you will see that the error has gone. Either you can mention star or you can mention student, the particular class that you want to import. It will be fine. But if instead of the more you type, there is a mistake that you can do. So what you do, you can just go over here. There is an error and say control space. That's all. Immediately the compiler will give you the particular import statement that it is importing from this particular package. Now, I'm creating, because I'm extended student, I'm creating an object called stud of type student with a constructor of student. That means I'm creating an object of type student. What is that type student? This is the student. As you create object from the class, you have done the same thing. Now, but this is a helper class or an entity class outside the package. That's what I'm discussing. You can still do it because you have imported. And once you have created this object, okay, you are creating a show method within the engineer, and you are saying that marks 78. This is valid. But if you say age 55, now let us go back here. Why marks equal to, you are assigning a marks of 78 into the marks, and where is this marks coming from? Because engineer has not declared any instance variable called marks. But because you have extended student, you have the access, like inheritance. You have inherited all the properties of student. What is one of the property? One of the properties marks. But what is that? It is saying accessor or the modifier is protected. You are protecting the marks. Protected. This type is protected. Like you have int or public or private. You can do within the entity class or the encapsulated class. Similarly, you can do with the protected. This is one of the access modifiers. If you say you can always change the value of the protected data of a class which you have inherited, because there is no errors, because the protected variables can be accessed in an inherited class of separate package. This student is a separate package, but you have inherited. So you can very well change the value of the protected data of student. This is marks is a protected data, but still you can change it because you have inherited, maybe from a separate package, doesn't matter. But can you do with the age? You are trying to change the age to 55. You cannot do it, because this age is what is sort of a general, a default, or a public, or a private. Since you have not mentioned any accessor or modifier, it is default. But there is nothing called default, so you just omit this. Whenever you are not mentioning, this is a default modifier. This is a public modifier. This is a private. So in a data, I can use general, default, or general modifier. A data we can use a public modifier. In a data we can use private modifier. My question is, can you use a private modifier with a class? Yesterday we have discussed.
No, sir.
No. We can use public, abstract, static, but not protected and private for a class. But you can do it, everything with a, and also we can use a final class as well, but not protected and private. This is a protected modifier.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Sir, student class is an entity class and engineer class is also an entity class or anything else?
No. Do you have, this is a normal class. Why
Okay.
it is not why it is not an entity class? Does it have any private data, and does it have any getters and setters?
No.
I have only one method, show, but this is not a getter and setter, because I have no private or any data as well. Even if that,
Okay,
even
sir,
if I have data, like I could have declared a instance variable called int a data, okay, equal to some value. Now this is the instance variable, like it has turned into blue color. But will you call it an embedded or encapsulated data? Where is the encapsulation?
No,
There is no encapsulation, because you have not used encapsulation at all. Encapsulation is only done whenever you are not using getters and setters. It's a normal class. But student, you see, in student, you have used encapsulation because you have used the getters and setters. Getters, for these are all embedded or encapsulated data. It is not ordinary data, because this data actually lies within the student entity, and student entity actually maps it with the table with the same field names. So this basically is an entity class with the encapsulation of the data. So this is not an ordinary data. This is not an instance variable. Though these are blue in color, that's fine. That's fine. But these are not these are encapsulated data and not an ordinary data. But here, this INTA data is just an instance variable, not an encapsulated data. Because this data you are not encapsulating within any getters and setters. Okay, there is no getters and setters. My
Understood,
discussion
sir.
is, are you fine with this?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is an ordinary class or general class. This is a student with an entity class. In this class, we have a show method. And within this, I have created an object stud from student. Because I have imported the student entity class within this, I extended it. So I get all the properties, marks. Okay, since that is always, I have extended the student, I have an access to all the data and the methods of student. So these are all the data and these are all the methods. So engineer will have an access to all the data and the methods of the student class. But here I'm saying marks 78. I can do that because marks is a protected. I can do it because I can access an inherited class of the separate package and I can do the change. But age being a general data, it is neither protected or private. So I cannot change anything over here because default or private variable is still not accessible to an inherited class of a separate package. Are you getting me? You cannot manipulate the private because these are private or general variables. You cannot do it. You can ask me, can I do some change in the roll number? Let's see. Because I have defined the roll number as public. Let us see. I cannot do this. So I will just highlight. If this is a private data or a general data, I cannot change it in a inherited student. But if it was in the same package, can I do it? Suppose this student was there in the same package as com.pcs global. Can I change it? I can
Yes.
change it. Yeah, I can change it. But I cannot change it here because this student is in a different package. Therefore, but I can do that for protected. Let us see for public. What is that public? Roll number. Okay, let's try to change it. So I'm saying roll number. I'm changing the value to 89. I can do it. So remember, let me copy this. No errors. So public variable can be accessed in an inherited class of separate package. Only remember the private, the default and the private variable is still not accessible to an inherited class of a separate package. If it is in a separate package, even if it is inherited, it does not allow you to change anything for a default or private. Will you remember this? And these are all mentioned in the notes that we have sent. I have sent you the other day. So let me progress to the very important topic called exceptions. Exception handling by try catch finally. Let us see an example. Exception demo. What is an exception? First of all, try to understand very minutely. An exception is like an error that has happened. Either the error can be seen. There can be two types of error. One is a compilation error and one is a runtime error. And within these two type of errors also, we can have a checked exception or a checked error or an unchecked error. Exception is an error condition. I have done some mistake. Either it can be checked during the compilation time, or it can be checked during the runtime, or it can be unchecked during the compile and uncompile. Sorry. What is an unchecked exception? When the compiler does not give you the exception warning, then that error will come out in the runtime. So that error is called the runtime exception. Okay. So sometimes compiler might see that everything is fine from its compilation point of view. So it will not give you any logical error. It will give you what? It will give you syntactical error, something which it is not finding, or something which is not matching the language requirement, that the Java language requirement. Then it will give you a compilation error, that cross mark within the red. Understood? But you have done a logical mistake. You have done something like division by zero error. Now, division by zero error is not a compilation error. It's a logical error, right? It's a logical error. And then logical error, if you have not checked it prior, it will be giving you basically a runtime exception because you have not checked it. It has not been caught by the compiler, and neither you have checked it. So what will happen? It goes to the production, or it goes to the runtime error. So suddenly the user will get an error which you have not checked or handled, basically not handled. To check the class declaration or implementation, press Control and move to the other class. So doesn't matter. Try catch block to handle exceptions. You use try and catch block. This you have to remember. Try catch. This is one of the most important topics of Java or any language. Like, you are handling the exception through a try catch block, and also finally to remove any code redundancy. That means something you have not closed, some resources need to be closed. It is already open. I will do that in the finally block, not in the try, neither in the catch block. So like you have used the try catch block to open a file, like file handling. You are going to try to read a file or write to a file. Okay, you can do that. But you have tried to handle all the exceptions that can happen while you are trying to open the file, read the file, or write the file, or remove the file. But that file pointer that you have opened is not closed. So you have opened a resource, you have not closed. And that closing activity should be done under finally code. So there is a combination of try, catch, finally. You can have multiple exception catch block. That means within a single catch block, you can catch multiple exceptions. It is not necessarily that you always know what the exception will be. It is not possible. There can be thousands of errors. How will you know which error will happen in the runtime? So, but by anticipation, you can say, okay, I'm using a file handling. I'm doing some file operations. So what is the maximum errors that can happen? One of them error is IO exception, because file handling or operation will go through some input output. You are writing or reading. Either you are writing or reading. From where? From the file, and that file resides in the hard disk. So there is an input output, because there is a input to the memory and output to the disk. So there is IO between the memory and the hard disk or the disk. Or even if you are using something, you are passing in something in the network and receiving something from the network. So that is a network error as well. You can expect. So there can be an IO error as well as network error. So all this, there can be multiple exceptions that you can handle in the catch block. To avoid multiple catch blocks, if the error message and actions need to be the same. So in the case where there will be multiple errors, you might need to give a same sort of an error. You give an error message and give out the particular error. But if you do it separately, then you have to do multiple catch blocks, and that is not desired. And multiple exception catch block is necessary if different activities or messages for each error needs to be processed. So you give multiple catch blocks only when you want to have separate messages for each of the separate errors. Okay. The syntax is catch exception needs to be at the last catch in the try catch block. Whenever you are handling exception, that is a general exception given by Java. So suppose you do not know what exact the exception could be. You know IO exception is one exception. You know servlet exception is one exception. But you do not know, or arithmetic exception, some arithmetic error like division by 0. You know that is an arithmetic exception. The name of the exception is arithmetic exception. Okay, but there are many exceptions where you do not know the name of the exact exception. In that case, you just leave it on exception, a general exception class that you catch within the catch, and that needs to be the last catch. If you put this exception in the very beginning, then what will happen? The other exceptions will not get executed, because some exception you already know that it could be IO exception and you want to give a particular exception. Here, you cannot restrict. It can give you multiple line of error message or maybe a single line. But if you have a known exception, you can give a particular error message, one line of error message. And last is the error stack. Error stack trace is a bucket in Java which holds all the error numbers and its corresponding error messages. So I can say this is a log of error. It is the master bucket where all possible error messages and all possible error codes are kept in a bucket, and that bucket name is error stack trace. Let us go through an example. Okay, I have created a class called, okay, and that class I'm putting that in the package com.pcsglobal. What is the class? Exception demo. Can you see exception demo here? And you see that com.pcsglobal is the package. That's why you have named. Now you understand package. Therefore, I'm not putting anything now under default package, because you have understood the package concept. In exception demo, there is a main method, and within the main method, I have said try. This is the way you write. This is the try catch block. You write what? You say try and then give a bracket. So opening braces, and basically the entire block of code that you are writing, you are trying to put that under the try block. This is the try block, because you expect that there can be some mistake when I'm doing this. So let me try and handle the exception if there is any. It may happen there is no. If there is any, you do not know whether there will be an exception in this particular block of code that you have written. It may happen that there is no exception. Okay. What I'm trying to anticipate that if there any exception here, I would, if that exception is like null pointer exception or array index, or this is an or, pipe is an or array index out of bound exception. So these are the names of the particular exception. Then you put that exception error in this EX. This is the syntax of catch. Under catch, now this is a multiple exception, multiple catch block, multiple exception catch block. So this is the catch block. This is the entire catch block. And I have put in multiple exception. Either it can be null pointer exception or array index out of bound exception. I am doing another catch. So I can write under one try block, I can have multiple catch, multiple exception catch block. So I have done this multiple exception, and also I have a particular exception called arithmetic exception. I'm using EX again. So in this entire try block, I am trying to catch null pointer exception, array index bound exception, and arithmetic exception through the catch block. I could have put directly over here. I could have said another pipe or, and I will say arith. You don't need to type anything much. You say arithmetic exception. What I did, I just say control space. I take the help of this one and I say EX. Now here, it is given exception here because this is a duplicate exception handling. Unreachable catch block for arithmetic exception is already handled. It is already handled by the catch block for arithmetic exception. So this is a duplicate. I will try to take this out, but I can do that. Okay. What I'm doing under this catch block is I'm giving, you see, did I give out? Because I want to print the error in red. Therefore, if I want to print in red, I will say system.err error println, and then I will just like the system out println, I will give a message error null pointer or array, because I do not know whether it's a null pointer exception or it could be an array index out of bound exception. And then I'm saying plus EX. EX is where it is the variable where it holds the the error code. Okay. And in the next catch, I am doing it. Either it can be null pointer, or because of one exception, it cannot have throw you multiple exceptions at one single time. It will throw you only one exception. So either it can be null pointer exception or array index bound exception in one block, or in another block, I'm trying to find out whether it's an arithmetic exception. If it is so, it will print an error arithmetic exception EX. What I'm doing in the try block, I'm saying I'm trying to force an error. I am creating an array B, integer array, int array B, and this is an array, and I'm assigning null. I cannot do that. Okay, I cannot use a null pointer. Introducing null pointer exception, which can be handled by catch exception block. Or because I have used null pointer exception, it will be handled in this catch block. We will see that. And in this, I have said B. What is this signify? When I say B, array, the square bracket and 2, what is this 2 mean?
That's the address, second position. Sorry, second, not third position.
Yeah, very good. So this is at the third element. The third element, I'm putting a value of 20. Okay. The third array position, or you are correct, very correct, because the array starts from index number 0. So 0, 1, 2. So in the third element, this is the third element I'm storing. But before that, I have done a mistake and I will get a runtime error. See, am I getting any compilation error? Because compiler does not know this is not a syntax. There is no syntax error here. This is correct. So I'm leaving it unchecked. Will it be unchecked? No, it is. I'm trying to check that error in the catch block. Suppose some error has happened where neither it is null pointer exception, nor it is in array index bound exception, or nor it is arithmetic exception. So what will it do? There will be what? You can use exception, catch exception. Otherwise, what will happen? The program will abruptly terminate with lots of error message from the error stack trace. Because you have not handled the exception will be given by the Java runtime engine. And the user will be very unhappy because you were not being able to capture that error message, the error, and you are not giving the appropriate error message, some arbitrary message. And what the user will do with all those errors messages, because he is not the programmer. So basically, you try to avoid anything which is given by the Java abruptly. So always try to give this at the very last. So I should have given, what I should have done, I should have given for this try block, I will try to do another catch, because this is the try block. And as much as catch I give, it will be applicable for this try block only. So I'm trying to give another catch, but in this catch, I am giving exception. Right now, I'm saying EX. So this catch exception is not same as arithmetic exception or null pointer exception or array index out of bound exception. I am giving an exception which is general, but I'm handling it. I'm not leaving it to the Java compiler or Java runtime engine to throw me an exception with lot of error messages which I cannot handle. I may be not happy about, sorry. So here I am saying, oh, let me say sys e. Okay, what I did was shortcut. I said sys, like earlier I used to say sys o and control space. I will get system out print line. But here I want the error message, the error. So what I do, sys e and control space, and I press enter. So I'm getting system. I'm not printing. I am not writing everything. I would like to try to avoid writing much, because more I write, the more there will be an error. So what I'm giving, that error, general error, let's say general error, which I'm not being able to handle exception. I mean, I do not know the name of the error. Okay. So I will say what I will do, plus what?
EX.
EX, because EX gives you the error code, that particular error code. And if you say EX is an object, you can get the message. Maybe you are interested more about because the user doesn't need to know, because user has nothing to do with the error code. The error code, what I will do with the error code? Let me get the message, correct error message, that particular error message. Fine. I can use this is an EX is an object, and it knows the error. If I just leave it like that EX, it will give the error code. But this error code has also a corresponding error message. I'm interested with that message. Okay. Let me see. Okay, there is another block. I'm writing something like this. but I am not including this in the try catch block. Why? Because I'm confident, I'm overconfident that when I'm writing this, I will not encounter an error because I know exactly this is the syntax, and I can create an array called A of int type, where I'm creating an array of 5 elements. So this array is an object A, and this int array of 5 integers. So this is a correct definition. I do not need to use it within try catch block. Fine, but I am not very sure that any one of these statements can go wrong. Not this, but maybe this or maybe this. I do not know. Let me include all these statements under the try block because I want to handle the exception. How? I will use catch. And I know when I'm doing with array, the most common exception is array index out of bound exception. Because you have 5 elements. Suppose you want to add a 6th element. Will it not give an error? Try to think very logically. You have an array size defined by this statement that I can have an array of size 5. That I can hold in this array only 5 cups, 5 data, 5 integer data, int data. Now I am trying to put some data in the 6th element, as the 6th element. Will the array be, will that be not an array, not an error?
Yes, it will be array out of array out of index
Yes.
bound.
And that particular name of that is array index out of bounds exception. Suppose by mistake you have given this one. So this is an array, this is an error because the compiler knows in my library of array exceptions, I do not, library of exceptions, I do not have any exception name like this. You will see array index out of bound exception cannot be resolved to a type. It is not a class or not a type, but here it is. So you will ask me, how will I know such a big name? Okay, at least you need to know a part of that name. Let's say you know array. Okay, then you go here and say control space. Control space is a very important part. You be there and control space. Then you will get a list of all classes that starts with array. But you are looking for this exception. Okay, then just double click. That's all. You do not, the more you type, the more there is a possibility of error. Fine. So what I'm doing in this try is that I am assigning 22 in the index position of 4. Index position of 4 means what is the 22 will be? What is the element number of 22?
Fifth element.
It will be the 4th element. Will it be 4th element or 5th element?
Fifth element.
Huh?
Fifth element.
5th element, correct. Okay. And I'm just printing a system element. But if whenever you are encountering any error, you will not proceed to the next line if you do not handle. But if you handle, it will proceed. That means there will be continuity of the program, but only that you give an error message. But if you don't handle the exception, then what will happen? The Java runtime engine will abruptly stop at that point of time with all the error messages given, like from the stack trace, error stack trace from this. So it is not an expected behavior of the program. So therefore you need to handle it. But here there is no error. Okay, you are printing, so it will naturally come down here. It will print a blank line, and then after that it will print an array A equal to, you are printing that element. What are you going to print? 22. Fine. Now I am introducing an error, because when I say I'm going to store 30 in the sixth element, because A5 is nothing but sixth element, right? But can I do it in the sixth element? Is there any sixth element? So here there is a point of error. Are you getting me, or just not understanding the point? I am forcing an error here just to understand the topic. Why there is a error? Because I'm trying to store 30 in the sixth element of the array, but there is no sixth element. Okay. Because I have only 5 elements. If I mention 5, this 5 and this 5 will be, no, I cannot do that, but I'm just talking for the timing. I'm saying that when you say A5, what does that mean? And when you say int5, that means you are creating a class or object A array. This is a sort of a constructor. This is one of the way to define an array. But this means that you are defining the size. Here you are mentioning the index position. If you have an index position of 5, that means you are referring to the array element. Which array element?
Sixth element.
Sixth element. So remember this. So whenever you are referring to the sixth element and you are storing the 30 in the sixth element, but my array definition says that I can hold maximum of 5 elements. There is no sixth element. So there is the point of error. So how I'm catching this error? I'm using catch. And I am saying that array index out of bound. That error message definitely either can be, because most of the common error from an array handling is array index out of bounds exception. You say EX. You can give any name. This is just a variable or an object which holds all that particular error. Then I'm saying system error print line, error in the array A is the name of the, or you can give any name, is this one. Or if you want to get an exception message, you can do the way we have got EX. Let me give the error code only. Fine. And another here, I'm not very sure that there can be some other array error when I'm handling array in this block. So I am not sure. I only know that there is one array, this one. So I'm handling it. I'm giving my customized error. But the rest of this, if I don't handle, I will be getting a runtime error. Therefore, I'm trying to use this exception. Okay, let me take this out because I have used the exception here. The same thing, the knowledge is the same. Instead of here, you are, so the risk is anything in this block which is not null pointer exception or array index out of bound exception or arithmetic exception. If there is some other exception which I'm not handling, then I will get a runtime engine error, and those are long list of errors. I mean, those are not desirable. So let it be like that here, but here I'm trying to use an exception, general exception. And I'm putting that exception, general exception, only after, at the very end. The last exception that I should catch is at the very end. I'm saying that the following exception had, I do not know the name of the exception. I just want to, okay, here I am giving a EX plus I'm giving some error message. Error message. What I will do? EX dot get message. Okay, and before that, I would like to print that error code. And I will say plus. Okay, this is error code and this is error message. Fine. Only when I will get, if I get an exception, that is if it is not array index out of bound exception. If it is an array index out of bound exception, I will not go to this. I will go and handle this. That's all. But I will continue. I will come to the finally and say that I'm in the final block irrespective of any error. Even if there is no error, I will just be in the finally block, because this finally block is used to, I will say sys O, and I will say finally block is used to close the, is mainly used to close the resources, close the open resources. Here there is no open resource because array is not a resource. But if I have handled file, I have worked with database connection. Okay, those are the resources. If I have to get a connection to the database, I have to open the connection. If I have to access to a file, I have to open the file. So the file is open, the database is open. So I have to close all these resources in the finally block only. Okay.
Sir, can you explain the try first try block?
Okay, sure, I will do that, because you have to understand try. See, I could have done very well if I have not given try. There will be no compilation error. Yes, there is compilation error because, you know, yeah, so there is no compilation error. I can have this, but what I'm doing this normally, till now we have not used any try catch block because we didn't have any conception of try catch. But here what I do, see, normally this is a block, unhandled exception. If there is an error, I will not be able to handle it, because if I do not, even if I have given catch, doesn't matter, because I have not included within the try. So this block will not be handled by this catch. If there is a matching exception, I will not be handling this. So therefore, I would like to give a try. Try is the keyword and try is a block. So I will use that block, and whatever is mentioned within the try block, this is what I am trying to handle for any error. Maybe there will be no error. Fine. Doesn't matter. So it will not come to this catch, or if I had an exception catch. Any other question?
No, sir. Actually, I'm telling to I cannot understand the line number 17, 18, 20, and 21.
17,
18, 21, and 20 and 21.
Okay, fine. Just this is a statement. Can I do a statement like this? Because my compiler is not giving any error. I am saying this is an array. I am declaring an array B. Array name is B, and I am assigning null. I am allocating null to this array. I can do that with my whatever knowledge of array is that. See, I have not done this, but suppose I do this. Is this correct? It is not correct. Then I'm getting a compilation error, because why? Compiler can very immediately find out that this array is of type int, and I'm trying to store, maybe it's a null string, but it's a string. Can I store a string, or maybe I give something ABC? Can I store a string in int array? So
No.
this is an compilation. I can see it. I cannot progress if I do not correct this mistake. I cannot be able to compile it. But what happens if I say mm, 0? It is still giving a compilation error. So I know that. But if I say that basically I have to store something like null integer array. So I'm storing null. Then there is no error because I can try to store, that means the empty. I am saying that the array will be empty. There will be no elements assigned. So therefore, this is my ignorance. I didn't know that because I'm not getting compilation error. So I'm thinking that this is fine. But it may happen that during the runtime engine does not like this statement. It cannot. Runtime engine, what it does, actually tries to do. Compiler checks the not the logic, the syntax and semantics. But the runtime checks because it is the point of execution. So it's trying to assign null to an array, integer array. It says that Java does not allow null. It will give a null pointer exception. But I didn't know. I didn't have that knowledge. So I have used a statement like this. Okay. And this second line, this line number 18, I'm saying I am storing A20 in the third element. I can do that. This is no issue. But the issue lies here. This is the point of exception. Here, I'm assigning this is simple. I'm saying int I equal to 30, comma, okay, you are confused with this. Okay, fine. What I do, I'm saying int j. Here I have to give a semicolon. Instead of writing in two different lines, I have given a comma. I'm writing in the same line. That is the whole thing. Okay, Santan. Understood this?
Yes, sir.
So it should be a semicolon. So in the semicolon, you can just continue with the multiple statements in the same line. That is simply this thing. And after that, I have said that I am declaring a k, which is of int type, and I'm saying I'm dividing 30 by 0. What is 30 by 0?
It is an arithmetic exception.
It's an
Divided by
arithmetic,
0, but divided
division
by
by
0 is
zero.
not possible. It's not
Yeah.
possible.
Yes,
Infinite.
that is the compiler should know. But compiler has nothing to do with this because compiler does not know whether in runtime engine, runtime execution time, it will be failing or not. But by my semantics and by my syntax, it is correct. This is a logical error, and this is called unchecked exception. This is an unchecked exception because runtime exception, because the compiler does not check this. Okay. But you are trying to handle this unchecked exception by using try and catch. And if this expression is correct, then it will come to the second line. The result, it will declare the result. It will print the result. But it will stop here because you have an error here. It should not print this. Let me execute this. Any questions on this first block of try? So I have introduced one error here and another error here. Which one will be executed first? Whether it will be a null pointer exception or a arithmetic exception, because this is an arithmetic exception, but this is a null pointer exception, right? It is never an array index out of bound because I have not used I have used the array, but I have used it correctly. But before I have used it correctly, I have got this error. But this error is not an array index out of bound exception. It is something else. It is null pointer exception because I know. So will it come and execute this part to get this message? Let us check. What is your concept? Will it stop here or will it come and do all this part? Okay, unless you see it, you will not be understanding. Let me execute this. We will explain while with the execution. We are executing a program which is where we are seeing some exceptions handling. Run. Okay, let us come here. Where it is getting an error, it is getting some error. Okay, the error says that it is Java language null pointer exception, but array index out of bound and null pointer. This is not an error message which has been given by the Java runtime engine. This is basically you have handled it and you have given it in one line. Where? It is here. It is here. It is coming to here. Why? Because it has encountered an error here. Okay, let me, this basically. So how will you know that this is this particular? Because from that point of time, did it come out of this try, catch and everything? Because it is over. It can only handle one exception. It cannot go and check for another exception. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Because at this point it has stopped or it has got an error. You have handled this error. It is not the runtime engine that has handled, because you have given this catch yourself in your program and you are handling this null pointer exception and you have given an error message, error, you see error, but in red. Why? Because you have given .err. That's why this message will come out in red. And this EX is given by the runtime engine because you want to exactly know the error code. This is the error code, java.lang. That is, this error code is coming from a package called java.lang. This package, as we know the package right now, we understand that this class, this exception class, null pointer exception, this is a class also. This is coming from a package called java.lang. Java.language. Okay. And then will it come to arithmetic exception? Because it cannot go over here. It stops at here at this point. Are you getting me? So it will skip the entire block of try. It will come this, and therefore it will come to the end of all the catch, because these catches are all part of this block, try block. One try can have multiple catches, catch blocks. So when you are skipping this encountered here and you are skipping this, so you are skipping basically the entire block, because you have done with this. You cannot proceed after you have handled the exception. You should come out of the try and catch block. So now you are at this point. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
You are not at this point. You are at this point. Uday or whoever is present, Deepak.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. So that is very important to understand, that you have to skip the entire try catch block will be skipped because you have handled it. Suppose you didn't have this. Suppose now I'm trying to, let's go step by step. If you understand this, then the rest of the exception handling will be very, very simple. Now what I've done, I have taken out one catch, null pointer exception, or array in this catch block I have totally taken out. I am only handling arithmetic exception. But do you think this is an arithmetic exception? This is an arithmetic exception because it is division by 0. I divided by j is 0. So something divided by 0 is always a division by 0 error. But my error has encountered over here. Did I have anything called exception? No, not particularly in this try block. I have only one exception handled, which is arithmetic exception. But this is not an arithmetic exception. Okay, let us see what happens. And neither do you have the exception, catch exception, like what you have here. This is also not there. And it cannot go over there because this is a separate try block. I have not come up to this point. I am in this try block. Remember, whatever you try to do in this try block will be handled over the catch blocks. Okay, let me see what happens here. I will save this and again execute this. Now, are you seeing this message, error arithmetic exception? Oh, it is giving something. But this something, I have not given a message like this. Did I give a message like this? Nowhere. Basically, this is unhandled exception. You have not handled the exception. You didn't know that this statement can give a null pointer exception. It can happen. This is why in the development you will understand, whenever you run this statement, you will get this exception. Then only you will introduce this null pointer exception. That is how the development work happens. Because you are not happy and the user should not be given such an error from the runtime engine. No, because what happens is the runtime engine gives you the file name that you are executing, as well as giving the line number where the error has happened. Exception demo main, that is the program, and in the main method of the exception demo.java. And what is the line number? Line number 18. But the root cause is over here. I cannot assign anything over a null array. Got it? This is the reason, and this is the cause, this is the effect. And at the effect only, because it is trying to assign 20, see, it has no problem with this. Neither the compiler nor the runtime engine. Fine. But once you try to do something with the B array and try to assign some finite value, not null, into some position, there is the point of array, point of null exception. But the cause is this, because you have made this pointer, this B, as null pointer, null array. Any questions? And this message has been given by the runtime engine, not by yourself. So why to leave it on this? And this is not correct. See, at this point, it has abruptly come out. Did we go and use this? Did we come at this point? But in our earlier thing, when we were using this one, we had done whatever error message that we want to display, and then had come to this point and started executing from this block. Isn't it? Okay, if you have not understood, let us again change it back. That is, now I'm trying to catch that null pointer exception. So it is not abruptly coming out. It is not exiting the entire code. Yes, it has encountered an error. It has gracefully handled that, because you have handled that correctly. You are giving an error message, correct error message, and you have also given the EX, the error code. If you do not want it to give an error code, fine, because you already know you are in the correct. You are correctly handled that null pointer exception. So let me again save it and store it, run it. You see, I'm not getting that error code. Okay, I'm just getting the message in the red. Yes. But why array equal to? Because it has exited the entire block of try, but it has come over here. It will continue the execution. It will not come out of the entire program. It will come out of the block of try. The entire block, it will come out. But it will continue from this point after the last catch, and finally, if there was any. So again, it has come to this try block. I'm trying to block this. Let me see what is the error here. Okay, I'm seeing this is the point of error. This is an array index out of bound, because you are trying to store in the sixth element a value of 30, but my array size is only 5. That I in that array I can hold only 5 elements by this definition. So this is the point of array, point of error. But I have handled it. See, my program continues even after it gets an error over here, it continues, it gives the error message and then continues over here. After it has skipped the entire block of try. It has come to this, it is encountered an error here, it has handled the exception, it is given error null pointer. Sorry. Oh, here you are printing the array value. Yeah, because you have stored this thing and you have executed this. Because these are not the point of error. This is the point of error. So it will execute this normally, and it will print array A equal to 22. After that, it is going here and it finds an error here. And you have handled that exception, and you are saying that error in array in red, and you have given exec. So this is an error code 5, and it is given by error index out of bounds exception. Now you cannot do another exception, because that is not an exception at all, because you have correctly handled.
Sir, why it is 5?
It is the error code.
Okay.
It is the error code. Not the error code, sorry. It is because you have tried to assign in that array element of 5. That is, this is 5 means it is 6th element, and therefore this is. Okay. Let me see whether it should not be an error code, because the error code is this one only. Index out of bound exception. Let me see. Let me check if I give 6. This is also an error. Whether this will change to from 5 to 6. Okay, let me check. I'm not sure. Yes. Can you see? That
Yes,
means
sir.
what is the error? That you are trying to use a 7th element. So the index position 6 is the point of error. Clear? And see, you cannot have another, this exception will not be handled. This will be handled only if you didn't give this one. Okay, we will execute that. And finally it has, because you have given finally, it has to come to finally. So it is printing in the final block of array error, sorry, of any error by, and finally block is mainly used to close the open resource. This is just a message. Let me see if I don't give this array index bound or exception. Will it come to here or not? I will do this. Is it coming here? Even if I have missed out, I do not know. Let's say I do not know the exact exception that it can happen. I have not given this catch block at all. But still, this exception, general exception, will catch whatever exception it is. But you are gracefully giving a message. The error code is this on error code, and the error message is 6. Get the message. Okay, this is the message, which is, this is the exception. This is the message 6, because here it is. This is whatever it is given. I have no control because this is by the Java. So Java is giving that the error message is actually, the message is 6. The point of message is this one. Okay, let me take out this one as well. Basically what I'm saying, that I have a try block. I do not have any catch block. That means I'm not catching the error. I'm leaving it on the runtime engine to display the error. Let me say this will be the last topic today, and I will execute this. Are you seeing that this is handled by the exception from the runtime engine? This is nowhere I have given such message, right? So this is coming from the runtime engine, and this does not look good. That's why, because it is not your message. And what has the user tried to do with the name of the file or the program and also the line number? It doesn't have anything to do with the line number. So I should not give any message which can confuse the user. I should handle the error through the catch block. Okay. So this is one thing. And another thing is, let's say I have not introduced that error. It's fine. So basically I'm coming here, or maybe you are giving that error, but you have put this ahead. So tell me what will happen in this case?
It will go to arithmetic error.
There is no, because it will encounter this error first. Now it will never go to null pointer exception array because it has got an arithmetic exception. Okay. So it will definitely go to here. But it will continue because you have handled this exception. It will continue from this point again. Let me see. Yes, here you are getting this error arithmetic exception in red, and that exception, this thing. And what is that message? The message is by 0, the division by 0, division by 0. Okay. Division by 0. Array, and then the same thing in the next block. Is it clear? At least after
Yes,
all
sir.
this.
Yes, sir.
But you tell me frankly, if you are not getting it, this is a concept which is you have to know. There is no way escaping it. Deepak, will you tell me if you have understood? Sulagna, Subhas.
Understood, sir.
But there can be some confusion, right? Even still now. So what I will suggest is, Deepak and others, you take this recording again. As I said, you pause it, try to write down the entire program and execute it and change, play around. Only then you will get a very clear understanding. And once your understanding is clear, like you will introduce some error yourself, or maybe there is no error. So if there is no error, fine. I will change it to 10. There is no error. I will not give an error like here. So there is no error. I will not use this point of exception. So fine. So what will happen in this case? I have no error in my code, even though I've handled the errors, but my code is fine. Runtime wise, it is fine. Let me execute this. See, did I get any error? It is giving me okay. Thank you, Deepak. No error, because the points of error has been taken out. And now you are getting result equal to 3, because 30 by 10 is 3. You are getting result 3. Array is equal to A equal to 22. And you definitely have to come to, whether it's an error or not, you will, because you have given a finally block, it has to come to the finally block. So there are a few points to be noted. Try to run this example, try to write the example, and again try to execute it, change something in the code, and you will definitely be able to understand it. I'm very sure. I will stop this thing, stop the sharing, and Deepak, Sayantan, Sulagna, and Subhas, I think this is a very important session, and the next few sessions also will be the most important. Whatever till now you have learned, you will be applying it in the exception as well as in the collection. And I will also try to, if you are interested, otherwise I will not go to the multi-threading. If you are interested, I will go through that multi-threading as well. It will be very interesting as well, but mostly multi-threading is not that important for interview purpose.
I'm interested to learn it.
Okay. Multi-threading is a very important, because maybe in interview might not get any question, or maybe 1 or 2 questions, but in your practical life, whenever you are working in a corporate organization, you have to know the multi-threading concept. And if you know the multi-threading concept of Java, you know multi-threading. Any language, whether it's a Perl, whether it's Python, or whether it's C++, whatever you do, the multi-threading concept remains the same. Okay. Yeah. Please stop recording.